Is Sam Carpenter actually the daughter of Billy Loomis, or maybe not? Let's get into it.
What's your favorite scary movie? Name it.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Well, I'm Pennywise the dancing now.
Oh, Lord on the beat!
God, don't do that.
But sometimes dead is better.
Hey everybody, what's up? KillJoy Jake here, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. Today we have a theory video on Scream 6 talking a little bit about our main protagonist, Sam Carpenter, and diving into her backstory a little more, which is kind of fuzzy at the moment. We're gonna get into all that in just a second here, but first I'm gonna need y'all to like this video and subscribe if you're new here for more updates on horror movies coming in the future and some crazy theory videos like this one. So a while back, it was rumored that we would be getting the characters of Leslie Mocker and Christina Carpenter possibly coming into Scream 6. Now, when I heard this news, I was kind of like, why? Like, it just seems completely unnecessary unless you want to have these characters be like, have some kind of plot purpose. But besides that, I don't really see the point of having these like parent characters be in the next film. Besides the fact of like, hey, they were mentioned in the last movie, so let's have them be characters here. That's the only reason I could see them possibly bringing them back. But here's a way I feel like you can naturally bring Christina Carpenter into the next movie and have her character have a purpose. Otherwise, I just feel like it would be completely useless to just throw her character in there. Like, why else do that otherwise? Besides the fact that she was mentioned in the last movie. Let's say Christina Carpenter is here with her daughters. For whatever reason, she's visiting Sam and Tara. Maybe Tara's in college at this point. Christina Carpenter visits, and she's not super happy with Sam still. She is still upset with Sam for breaking up the family, essentially, after the reveal of, hey, like, yeah, I'm Billy Loomis's daughter. What the hell? Why did you never tell me this? The dad left after that, apparently, according to what Sam said in the hospital to Tara. So what if we have Christina still kind of resenting Sam and maybe favoring Tara? Maybe she's there just to visit Tara, not to visit Sam. But Sam is there close by, being overprotective of Tara, because that's kind of like where her arc, I think, would naturally go in this next film, is that she would be overprotective of her sister that she has been so like distant from for such a long time. What if now Christina Carpenter reveals to Sam in a very like passionate drama-esque scene that she's not actually the daughter of Billy Loomis? And what if it's just one big misunderstanding? Christina Carpenter was just kind of having a bit of a fling with Billy during the time that she met her future husband that she would have 2 kids with. That's Sam and Tara. And this whole time, it wasn't Billy. Maybe Billy had said something about, like, in these notes, he was a psychopath after all, saying something like, I want to knock you up. I want to have a baby with you or something like that. Like something just totally crazy in this note. We still don't know what that was, what the reveal was of Sam coming to the conclusion that she was Billy Loomis's daughter. So what if we find that out, that maybe this whole time it was one big misunderstanding and Sam broke up the family about it. Christina just never forgave her for it. She never could forgive her own daughter for that. Now, what that leads the audience to believe is that maybe Christina Carpenter is the one doing all the killings this time around. Like, it could be a massive red herring this entire movie to think that, oh, is it Christina doing that? Is she just trying to get back at Sam and being and maybe like protecting Tara from everything? Maybe Tara is like never in harm's way this whole movie, and it's like this really big like mystery element. Like, it's really, we're getting really suspicious of Christina Carpenter here. But the truth is, she ends up just being a red herring, and she's just kind of a bad mom at the end of the day. I think if they actually make her the killer, it's way too close to Mrs. Loomis, and then it's way too damn close to Scream 2. And if we get a remake of what is essentially just like, it's Scream 2, but it takes place in 2023, I'm gonna be pretty disappointed with the film. And listen, that putting aside the fact that I don't really love Mrs. Loomis as a killer all that much, what I do respect about Scream 2 is it really tries to make you think that Cotton Weary is the killer, although there is like no chance in hell he would ever be the killer. When you step away from that in an unbiased standpoint, you look at it and it's like, why would Cotton Weary be the killer? That makes no sense. Trust me, this is going somewhere. It's related to this theory, I promise. So they spend like the entire second act pretty much trying to convince you that Cotton Weary is the killer. He's being super creepy the entire time. All of the other characters disappear, and it's mostly just about Sydney and Cotton Weary. I don't love it, but I do respect the fact that they tried so hard to make someone who is obviously so not the killer, someone who was cleared to not have killed Sydney's mom, to then end up trying to make him look like the killer in this next movie. You get to a point where it's like, okay, maybe he is. You know, you start thinking that, and then like, obviously it's not. Could we do something like that in this next film? Like, obviously it's not Christina Carpenter. She's not going to be trying to kill her own daughter and save the other one. Like, that's completely ridiculous. But could you spend a long time trying to convince your audience of that and then maybe actually convince some people? It could be a really good red herring. Something I felt was a little lackluster in Scream 5 was they didn't do enough, do a good enough job pointing the finger at different people. Like, we had Liv McKenzie at the very end of the film be pretty suspicious, and you're like, ooh, okay, maybe she's the killer. And it leads into the Amber reveal, which was fantastic and very well done, I think. But you could have done a little more of that going through the movie. There's little inklings of it, like here and there. Like, you had this line, this throwaway line about like how Wes likes Tara, but that didn't really go anywhere. You should have expanded on that a little bit, especially in the scene with him and Judy. You could have seen him texting Tara, be like, hey, I want to see you, or something like kind of like weird and possessive of the character from Wes to her. That could have been like, ooh, red herring, but then he dies. So something like that would have been sweet. Have a little more of that in this next Scream film, I'd say. You could do that with the character of Christina Carpenter. You can naturally bring her into the story in some way. Maybe she wants to come visit Tara. Once again, she favors the one daughter over the other, probably. It could be that kind of situation, and she wants Sam to just leave. She doesn't want her to be there. And then it could be a massive red herring. It could be like, oh my God, is Christina Carpenter killing all of Sam's friends maybe? And maybe is she going to kill her own daughter in the end? Is that what she's like mustering up all of this for? Could that be the case? Are they repeating Scream 2? Because let's be honest, we're going into this film with that concern. We're going into this film concerned that they're going to just take elements from that second film, just kind of jumble them all up into a new story and then put that out. It could be, you could play with that. You could play with what's going on in like the fandom's mindset right now. Use that to your advantage as a red herring in this next film to really throw off whoever the actual killer is. That could be a really cool and interesting, totally different direction that they take with this next film, playing off of like the psyche of where the fandom is right now about this new movie. My only issue with that is like, there is the possibility that Christina Carpenter does end up being the killer, and it's way too damn similar to Scream 2. If they go that route, I would be really uninterested in seeing that storyline play out. It wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. Like, in all, if you think about it, why would Christina Carpenter want to kill her one daughter and then save the other? What did she think, like, oh, Tara's gonna be totally fine with that? You hate Sam too, right? I mean, the more I talk about it, the more I'm like, I can actually see that happening in this next film, but I really don't want it to. I really do not want them to go down that avenue, because then it's just like, oh, cool, this is just Scream 2 2.0, awesome. I don't want that to happen. I've never been the biggest fan of Mrs. Loomis. I've always thought it was just way too corny, even for the Scream movies that at times can get pretty corny, but it's all fun. It's always a good amount of cheese. But that ending of Scream 2 is just a little too much for me. I know I'm in the minority about that. Everyone seems to love Mrs. Loomis. I just don't care for her, especially when she's overshadowing Mickey, who is like a character that could have been expanded upon and been so much cooler. He's essentially just like a serial killer that decided to go Ghostface. That's so cool to me. I would have loved to have seen a whole movie just focused on that motive. What he just wants to kill because he's chaotic. He just wants to kill Sidney Prescott because Billy Loomis and Stu Macher couldn't. Expand that a little bit. You overshadowed the coolest thing about your movie with a killer reveal that was supposed to be something that relates to the past, which this series has an obsession with. But what do you guys think about this theory? Is there anything to that? Do you think Christina Carpenter could play a massive red herring in this film? Do you see another aspect of her coming into this film that could work and wouldn't just be completely pointless and rendered useless? I don't see another avenue that they could take to put her in this film where it would like make sense. Maybe if there's some kind of like, okay, we're trying to reconnect with our mom or something like that. But why have that character in there if you're not going to either like kill her or use her as some kind of red herring? You got to use characters to your advantage when it comes to a screenplay. Otherwise, you're just like writing in characters to have characters. Too many characters is a bad thing. I think when you have just the right amount of characters, you can make a Scream film with 6 people. You could absolutely do that. If they're all well written and they have like intertwining storylines that all come together for some kind of crazy ending, some kind of crazy explosive thing at the ending. It could work. But when you have too many characters, it gets muddled up. You start forgetting who people are, and some of them don't even serve a purpose. It was close to that in Scream 5, and I want them to just have very rich characters that are great, that are fun to hang out with, and then you actually get sad when you see them die. Something along those lines would be perfect, I think, for the next Scream film, and I just don't want them to throw like parent characters in there just because they were mentioned in the last film. What do you guys think, though? Leave me something about it in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching this new Scream 6 theory video. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more horror content. Also, please consider supporting me on Patreon or my channel members. Just hit join on my YouTube channel page, and then you can become a member either at the Ghostface, Jason, or Freddy tier. Thank you guys so much for watching this video again, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.